Hey everybody, is this thing working? Welcome to our show. Welcome to episode 100. Yay! We were gonna drop some confetti and stuff like that and have a big celebration with, little kazoos and stuff, but since we ain't got no video, I figured I'd kind of get lost on y'all. But we had a good plan anyway. How's it going, Denise?
It's going awesome on this Tuesday. So I'm really excited to be here on our 100th episode. Man, I remember when we did one. And I remember when we did the ones before one. We've actually done about 140, ones? But yeah. they were practice.
The demo.
The demos. We call them demos. So if you want to go back and review from 1 to 100, you can find us at Apple, Spotify, Rumble, Getter, Facebook, Truth, and on Twitter. So be looking for us on there and go and check out all the rest of the shows. It's been really fun.
We're also on Overcast.
Oh, yeah, Overcast. I mean, we promote Overcast because they get us from Rumble. So we promote Rumble very heavy. We are on YouTube, but we don't promote YouTube because YouTube is ScrewTube. So that's how we do that. I mean, that's what we think of YouTube, but I know a lot of people watch it. We are also on TikTok and on Instagram. So check us out there too. But before we get started on the show today, we want to state these are our opinions and ours alone, mine and James. If you agree with us, tell your friends and share the show everywhere you see our name. Stomp that like button and subscribe, especially on Rumble. I mean, that they don't do follow, they do scribe. So you help James and I further our reach when you share the show. So thank you very much. And if you don't like us, tell us why in the comments below. We love it. Also, go check out our website. It is a work in progress. I'm very new at this, so I'm trying it out. And it is at www.is-this-thing-working.com. And subscribe to get a daily newsletter and support our sponsors on the site. They are the reason we can keep the show free for you to watch whenever you'd like to on all the platforms. So we do have a new sponsor we want to introduce to you, Pure Hemp Botanicals. I think this is great. Me and James have taken CBD for a while now, and we know for a fact that this is a great product.
Yeah, it's definitely made a difference in my quality of life. And CBD is great for inflammation. So if you have aching elbows, aching hands, arthritis in your hands. I have arthritis in one of my thumbs, in the joints in my thumb, and I use CBD on the daily, and it works.
Yes, it does. And I have problems sleeping. So I take the ones that relax me so that I can get to sleep and get a good night's sleep. So, but their mission, Pure Hemp Botanicals, once again, their mission is compassion in action. And their mantra, which is what I said, compassion in action, guides our work and relationships. We serve a growing community of evolving hearts and minds to produce sustainable, plant-based, vegan, and cruelty-free products. Pure Hemp Botanicals is celebrating their 8th year anniversary, so they are offering a 40% discount site-wide. So you can go to www.purehempbotanicals.com. They have a list of products on there, and it's very wide. They have tinctures, and they even have some for your pets. They have soft gels, cooling gels. They even have some for your lip balms. They have warming balms. Gummies.
Yeah.
And Pure Sleep and Pure Balance and Pure Relief. So go check out their website today, and we welcome them as a sponsor. So here we go. We got a big show for you today.
Yep. Let's get rolling.
And we're going to start with, what are we going to start with? We're going to start with President Trump, who's in court again this morning at 9:30, and he came out with a statement, and here is his statement for this morning.
What's going on at the college level and the colleges, Columbia, NYU, and others is a disgrace, and it's really on Biden. He has the wrong signal, he's got the wrong tone, he's got the wrong words, he doesn't know who he's backing, and it's a mess. And if this were me, he'd be after me so much, but they're trying to give him a pass. But what's going on is a disgrace. to our country, and it's all Biden's fault, and everybody knows it. He's got no message. He's got no compassion. He doesn't know what he's doing. He can't put two sentences together, frankly. He is the worst president in the history of our country. And again, what's going on is a disgrace. Now, it's interesting outside for great Americans, people that want to come down and they want to protest at the court, and they want to protest peacefully. We have more police presence here than anyone's ever seen. For blocks, you can't get near this courthouse. And yet you have nobody up at a college where you have very radical people wanting to rip the colleges down, the universities down. And that's a shame. But it all starts with Joe Biden. The signals he puts out are so bad. And I can tell you, he's no friend of Israel, that's for sure. And he's no friend of the Arab world either. You take a look at what he said. He's no friend of, he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know what to do. He wants to take like a middle ground, and oftentimes that doesn't work, but it's certainly not working here. But what he's done to Israel is abandon them. And he's trying to be as nice as he can to the other side. Call it the Arab world, but that's not working either because they get him. And he's an incompetent man. Peace will never happen with a guy like this. Thank you very much.
And I'll say this about President Trump, bless his heart. He is right. I mean, one thing that really stood out to me in his statement just then is the fact that all these protests are going on all over these campuses, but where he's at, we're not allowed to protest. Them having him in, this court. So,
isn't that something?
Yeah.
Yeah. You notice the one thing I noticed, he said it twice. He used the word twice. He used the word disgraced. I'll tell you what else is disgraceful. Since we're talking about disgraced, Post Millennial come out with an article, and this is talking about the classified documents case that Judge Aileen Cannon is presiding over. And this is a breaking story, a real important story. This is something we all need to pay attention to. Headline says, new unredacted motion reveals collaboration between the Biden White House and the NARA to concoct a classified documents case against President Trump. This is big, y'all. This is big.
Yeah, it says right here, the Monday filing includes sections of the original January document that had initially been heavily redacted. Now, I can remember when this happened, everyone was so angry because they redacted every bit of the forms and you couldn't see who did what.
Yeah, it looked like a piece of paper with black lines all over it. Yeah,
yes.
It was almost completely blacked out. But the article goes on here to say, on Monday, a version of Donald Trump's motion to compel discovery in the Mar-a-Lago documents case was released by Judge Aileen Cannon, with much of the information originally redacted by Biden's special counsel Jack Smith being unredacted. In one section titled Early Indications of Narrow Bias, which was heavily redacted in its original January 16th version, it now states that NARA General Counsel Gary Stern sent an internal email attaching a draft letter to President Trump's Presidential Records Act representatives. Stern noted that he had several conversations with the White House of Records Management, name redacted, and that, name redacted, had raised some of these concerns directly with David Fierro, who is NARA's archivist. Who's the redacted names? Yeah,
I don't know. They still have some redacted, so they must be really, really important.
Yeah, exactly. It goes on to say that Stern's draft concluded that things were very chaotic, as they always are in course of a one-term transition, and he acknowledged that the transfer of the Trump electronic records is still ongoing and won't be complete for several more months.
So in essence, they had to actually wait for months before they can actually go raid Mar-a-Lago because it wasn't complete yet. Mm-hmm. They were still going through everything.
Exactly.
It's amazing to me. But what really sticks out is that there was collusion between the Biden White House. And it says Julie Kelly had posted, that she's the one that broke the news. She posted a tweet, shows the forms, one redacted and one not. And she says the majority of this section included an exhibit note explaining that a NARA employee explained to the FBI that it is not uncommon that PRA material collection extends past the close of any presidential administrations. sometimes well after the close of any given presidential administration. They were redacted in the original version because what they're doing is looking for bad things on President Trump, and they could not find anything.
I think what they're looking for is stuff that would implicate them.
Well, of course. You know, and another section was titled, "The Biden Administration Weaponizes the PRA." And it states, in late September 2021, without disclosing that NARA had already drafted a referral letter and contacted DOJ, Deputy White House Counsel Jonathan Sue asked one of the President Trump's PRA representatives to permit, redacted, to access notes from the Trump administration related to records handling. Sue then intervened when Stern offered to provide a copy of the notes to President Trump's PRA representative. Could we discuss the process before anything is provided to him?
There they are trying to cover themselves because they knew their names was in those records.
Yes.
Yep.
And I wonder what that discussion was like.
Yeah.
The section after the name Jonathan Sue was redacted. And in quotes, it says Stern agreed to coordinate on this issue with the Biden administration, but informed Sue that the request was atypical. Normally, we would have to provide the records to him per the notification/review process before we could provide anything to you. 2 days later, Stern assured Sue that the PRA representative had not asked to see these records. This section was redacted in its entirety. It goes on and on to tell that on October 5th, 2021, Stern sent an internal email describing a strategy to time NARA's public communications with Congress in order to prejudice President Trump. Stern's email attached a draft letter to the Hill regarding social media records, which he proposed to run past White House counsel before notifying President Trump. And then 3 days later, the Biden administration instructed NARA to reject President Trump's assertion of executive privilege and to disclose records to the Select Committee to investigate the January 6th attack on the United States Capitol. That right there tells you what they were looking for. They were looking for what? January 6th records, something that they could get him on the January 6th attack. For him to, probably a piece of paper that would have said attack anywhere. And they would have made it look like he wrote something about January 6th. I mean, really, all I can think of is that's what they wanted, or the Russian collusion papers. I'm still thinking he's got a copy of them somewhere.
You bet.
You?
You bet.
I still believe they were searching for something.
Sure they were. Man, and ain't this some brown shirt commie Nazi bullshit?
Oh my gosh.
Isn't this, yeah. I mean, we see this, and we've talked about this already a couple of times this week. Matter of fact, yesterday we talked all about the weaponization of our government. Look, here is just another example of more of this. And the thing is, we see this. Me and you see it. All the people in our circle sees it. The people in our space see it. Does the left and the liberals see it this way? That's what's crazy with this. But it is what it is. Man, this right here is totalitarian if I've ever seen totalitarian. This is Nazism. This is Hitler-style stuff, man.
It is. And what's going on at our colleges right now?
Yeah.
You know, with the liberalism has gone out of control. I mean, pro-Palestinians are out there.
The leftists the Marxists. You know, and there again, liberalism. What I consider to be liberalism is a classic 70s style liberal, you know. But this is leftist. This is Marxist. This is Naziist. This is communist. This is everything but America. Man, it's crazy. And yeah, here we are with the same tactics again as we had in 2020 during the last election cycle with the protests, the organized protests all over the country creating all this chaos. Just like I seen Bongino say this morning on Twitter, he said, glad to see that the Nazis get arrested. And that's true. The leftist ain't much different than a Nazi. The modern liberalism of today is the same as Nazism, don't you think?
Yes. And we have this article here that tells us 5 ways in which liberals are exactly the same as Nazis. So we're going to go through this
let's
and
just
see
touch
what
on
you
this.
have to say about it. See what you think.
Yeah.
Here we go. There were 5 things. Number 1, are they obsessed with race?
They're obsessed with identity politics.
Yes,
which
they are.
Race is identity politics.
Number 2, ideological unity between the media and political parties. What
There
do you
you go.
think there?
There you go. And like the article says here, in Nazi Germany, the media served as the propaganda wing of the fascist government. We see a similar pattern in the liberal world today. The media was an extended arm of the Nazis, and in the USA today, and we've seen this for decades, we see the mainstream media act as the propaganda wing of what? The Democratic Party.
That's exactly right. And it says the collusion that was observed between news networks and Hillary Clinton was for all to see. The liberal American media has even justified violence by Antifa goons against their political opponents.
You see what I mean? Look, you can easily put this back on Antifa. What we got going on with the Free Palestine and the Hamas supporters, those are terrorists, man. And what we see going on with this is exactly the same. It's the same play, man.
But for example, here's number 3, just what you're talking about. Ideological unity between academia and political parties.
Yep.
So here we go with the leftists, Nazis, and the colleges.
Yep.
All going together. And I guarantee you this is money. This money being paid to these people to go out and do this.
Yeah.
And cause issues in the colleges, which I don't know why they picked the colleges, since all of a sudden they're trying to give them free money.
That's the place they indoctrinate them and educate them to get them out here to do these things. That's exactly what's going on.
And then number 4, the will to power and crushing dissent.
There you go.
Yes. In Nazi Germany, there was complete coherence of ideology between the political establishment, the media, and academia. A similar pattern is also observed in the world of liberalism. The 3 departments, together with complete ideological unity between them, form the liberal establishment in the 21st century. The arms of the liberal establishment then work in tandem, like Nazi Germany, to crush dissent and entrench itself in the corridors of power.
Which is exactly what we've seen going on with President Trump. There it is.
Yes.
I mean, yeah.
It's all about
you guys
power.
are Nazis, man. That's I guess to make a long story short, that's what we're trying to tell you. You're a bunch of Nazis, man.
Yeah. And then number 5 is a totalitarian society.
Yep.
That's our point.
This is what it says, yeah. The most distinguishing feature of a totalitarian society or a totalitarian ideology is that the power structure isn't merely interested in what an individual says or how he acts, but also how people think. It's not enough to merely say or act in a certain way. A person must also believe the ideology completely. Otherwise, the person can be accused of a thought crime and persecuted accordingly.
So guess what? That sounds like
What we got going
current
on.
liberalism, supposedly, here in America.
You bet.
You know, so I'm wondering, those people that are Democrat, liberal, the moderates that you're always talking about.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you think they realize that?
Do they? See, and I wonder that too, and I try to continue to give them credit that there are rational, reasonable people out there that just happen to vote Democrat.
They don't understand that the progressives have totally taken over the party.
Well, and that's just like what that paragraph said about they tell you exactly how you're, not so much even how you act or how you behave or the things that you do, but they want to control how you think. So if you don't think exactly like them, what are they going to do? They're going to rain down on you. They're going to come after you the same that they do anybody else.
Yes. You know, like Peanut talking about how they go after people. I mean, we had recently, well, let me just start right here. Breaking. Here's a headline from Gateway Pundit. Judge declares mistrial after jury unable to reach unanimous verdict in murder trial for Arizona rancher George Allen Kelly. Good for him.
Yep.
You know, I really and truly wish that he would have gotten away completely. I mean, that one holdup, there's always one, you know.
If we remember, the trial centered on the January 30th death of a Mexican migrant who was found shot after rancher George Allen Kelly fired warning shots into the air, alleged his defense attorney. George Kelly, the Arizona rancher who was arrested and charged with second-degree murder and aggravated assault for defending his wife and his property from illegal invaders, went on trial last month. He faced a second-degree murder charge for the death of this migrant. They said it was an aggravated assault with a deadly weapon for putting another man, Daniel Ramirez, in danger. Ramirez had been traveling with the other migrant looking for work in the U.S. Baltimore's body was found 115 yards away from Mr. Kelly's house after the shooting incident. So because he wasn't in the house, he was out on the property, and he ended up being shot, it goes to trial. Ends up being a 7-1 hung jury on this.
Jury. In this Mexican migrant, as they called him, has a history of illegally crossing into the United States and has had multiple deportations. I just wanted to bring that out because, people that are coming across our borders, not coming through the door like they're supposed to, they're illegal. These people are running for something. They're hiding from something. Those are the ones that are criminals.
Well,
or they would come through the border. Come through.
Yeah.
I mean, even though I think it's illegal, at least we can keep track of you.
Yeah. Do you believe that he shot in the air, or do you believe he was aiming at him?
Well, I really don't know.
I'm just asking,
My opinion, he was scared for his wife.
Sure.
Because his wife was outside. She had heard somebody.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So that's what he says. He says, I was trying to protect my wife. I don't think that he did it on purpose, no. In my opinion, I don't think he did it on purpose.
Right. I get that, and maybe you could say, well, okay, he fired a shot in the air, and yeah, it eventually come down, and just by happenstance, bolt of lightning strike, the bullet happened to just on its descent come down and hit this guy, and I would go, okay, that sounds plausible if the guy's 800, 900 yards, 1,000 yards away, I could understand that. I could see that. But at 115 yards, any rifle, it's still going to be flattening out at 115 yards is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
You know what I mean? The
Yeah,
trajectory of the bullet's still going to be flattening out. So it's not on a descent. It's, to me, him saying he shot in the air, if he shot in the air, he shot really low in the air. You know what I mean? And,
right.
And he could have done that, and that been a mistake. I get that too.
Yeah.
But I'm glad, I guess a hung jury is a lot better than him.
Yes, it is. And he, before he went into court on Monday, the jurors deliberated last Thursday and were unable to reach a verdict. Deliberations continued on Friday, and after more than 7 hours, the jury sent a note to the judge and informed him that they could not reach a verdict. Before the jury resumed deliberations on Monday, which was yesterday, George Kelly told News Nation's Allie Bradley, which has done a bang-up job on this case, that he is confident he is going home for good after today. He was excited. He said, I'm going home for good, he said as he walked into court on that day. So it was a hung jury, and I guess the judge says, well, we'll come back on Monday and figure out where we're going from there. So good luck to him. I wish him a lot of luck.
Right.
And then another thing that happened in Texas, Ken Paxton strikes again, our Texas Attorney General. Did you hear about this? Seattle Children's Hospital leaves Texas after investigation over gender transition medication for minors. Good going, sir.
Yep.
I mean, really, we need to get those people out of Texas. And what's so strange about this one is Seattle Children's Hospital has agreed to stop providing care in Texas after backlash for allegedly helping minors in the Lone Star State receive gender transition medication. The hospital is suspected of providing support for gender transitions to Texas-based patients from its Seattle facility. Now, looky here. See what they said? They were in Seattle. You hear that right there? They were providing from Washington to Texas sex change hormones in these pharmacies here in Texas. And it's just really disgusting. Paxton says this would violate state law, which prohibits drug and surgical sex changes for kids. However, when his office made inquiries, they were rebuffed. So what really happened here is the Attorney General, Paxton, he sent a letter saying he needed to see your records, and they sent back no, we're just going to leave instead. Pretty much that's what happened.
Yeah.
No, Seattle Children's Hospital appeared to break Texas law and initially tried to evade accountability when investigated, Paxton said in a statement shared with the Post, which is who we're getting our information from.
He goes, when we merely began asking questions, they decided to leave the state of Texas and forfeit the opportunity to do business here. He said, let's make our position clear. Medical providers in Texas must abide by our laws. In Texas, we vigorously protect children from damaging experimental gender transitioning treatments that can have life-altering negative consequences. So basically, what they were trying to do was open a place here in Texas, provide all of their care and support by proxy through Seattle to this building down here and think that it would be called legal. When he asked for the medical records, then they come and state, so they give him some state law that says we don't have to provide medical information because of the fact that if a kid wants to travel across state lines to come here for gender transitioning or sex change therapy or surgery or any of that, they can do it without their parents, and then they can hide the medical records from the parents.
Yes.
That's what they're saying.
That is what they're saying. What drives me crazy about all this is part of the Biden administration's policies, the things that they have put out there, to harm our children, to
gain control.
In every single way. We have the colleges and then our small children and being indoctrinated with DEI in our public schools now, our government schools, excuse me.
Yeah.
I misspoke.
There's a war on our children. There's a war for our children. And if we don't fight back, if we don't get these people out of these positions of power that push this stuff, if we don't stand up and say enough is enough, you're not going to weaponize this government against your people anymore. We have got to do this. If we don't, man, we're going to lose our country, and we're going to lose it because of stuff like this right here.
Yes. But we do have people out there fighting. And we're just going to have to keep on fighting the weaponization of our government.
Is this thing working?
Rise up.
Well, hey, everybody, that's it for today. Thanks for listening. And I hope you've enjoyed the show. Hope you've learned some things about what's going on around us in the nation and in your communities. We couldn't do this without your continued support either. We appreciate all of you showing up, taking the time to listen to us today. So please, like I say, make sure to hit the like button, share our show with all your friends. We'll see you next time on Is This Thing Working? And as always, I'm James, and that's my lovely co-host over there,
Denise.
and we'll see you next time.
We're out.